will not be moderated. For attendees here in the room, please hold your questions until the end of the session. We'll try to get as many as possible. If we don't get to them, some presenters will join the chat and try to answer your questions individually. Please give a warm welcome to our presenter, Deborah Pruitt, a teaching professor in the Graphic Information Technology program and the User Experience Master's degree at ASU.
I wonder if I put this here. Can you all hear me? Okay, great. Welcome. Thank you for coming to the Accessibility Awareness Day and to my presentation. I am, as she mentioned, I'm a teaching professor in graphic information technology, and we have a UX master's program. Both of these are within the Fulton Schools of Engineering, and we're at the Polytechnic campus. So this particular course, this is kind of my journey. I'm still on the journey. The course is going live. I mean, it's right now. It's happening right now, and I'm still developing. So I want to share what I have with you so far and my plans for that. Oh, okay. Do we need it closer? Okay. That's okay. All right. Okay, great. Ooh. All right. So like I said, this is my, I found that accessibility is something that is sometimes included, but not always included. I'm starting with design students. I have delusions of grandeur that I can push this out to any discipline because accessibility is everywhere, just like UX is everywhere. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the course is called Designing for Accessibility. I now realize I don't love the name of this course because really it's not designing specifically for disability or for accessibility. It is designing inclusively. So this is a 7-week online course. Talk about a challenge. So I'll give you an idea of what I went through. And these are for cross-media design students. It's limited to those sets of students. So cross-media includes web, print design, digital design, 2D, 3D animation, motion graphics. I know I'm forgetting some video. So it's a broad spectrum, but they are all designers. Mentioned graphic information, UX. And you'll notice that my slide deck is very minimalistic. And I did that on purpose because I'm trying to practice what I preach about accessibility. So the general setup is the important information is on the left side. Supporting information is on the right, or it could just be decorative. I do have some decorative images in there that sometimes I start the slide and then nothing shows for like 10 seconds or 15 seconds. So I want them to have a little something to focus on. All right. So the official learning outcomes, as we all have to do these if you are faculty, are to identify the different types of disabilities that can affect media consumption or interaction. Knowing what the legal implications are for not having your material accessible. Discovering and actually using the principles, guidelines, and the laws that have to do with accessibility. And then the ultimate result is creating inclusive data-driven. That's the big part, data-driven solutions. Those were my official learning outcomes. These are the light bulb moments I want for the students. adopt an inclusive design mindset. One of my books is Mismatch by Kat Holmes. If you don't know about that, it's an excellent book. It gets you into that mindset. And that is what I want students to take away from this. Create projects that include instead of exclude. And the main part with that is, how do I know when it excludes? So being able to recognize when it excludes so that you can make it inclusive. I say this to all my design students, whether they believe me or not, you are not your user. It doesn't matter if you have a disability. You could be colorblind. You do not speak for every colorblind person in the world. So they have to kind of take a step back and look at it with professional eyes instead of being a user eye. Then they have to take another step back and look at it as a user as well. I hear this, and accessibility design is not an innovation barrier. It is an innovation opportunity. And that's what I'm presenting to the students. This is a quote that I read while I was researching this course, and it really resonated with me. Accessible design is the destination, but inclusive design is how we get there. So this class combines both. Teaching how to design with accessibility in mind, but also realizing that what you do can help everyone. This is my quote: making accessibility and design a before thought, not an afterthought. Is before thought a word? No. I made it up. Yay. But I want this should be part of the planning. This should be part of the brainstorming. It's not an add-on. So the challenges that I had, 7 weeks. That's not a lot of time. So one of the ways that I approached it was, this is what I would call a pre-research. This course is, there are accessibility issues. You need to do a full-blown accessibility test with representative users, but you need time and resources to do that. So this is the preliminary research that you take to the C-suite, the CEO, the CFO, the CTO, to say, we need to do this. So that's one of the approaches to the 7 weeks that I did. I'll tell you about the second one in a few minutes. So there are myths. There are myths among designers. There are myths about, even all the way up to the C-suite. Accessibility is nice to have. It's not an add-on. Accessibility design only helps a few. Wrong answer. Designing is hard. And to that I say, I quote Elle from, what movie is that? I can't remember. Like, it's hard? Yes, Legally Blonde. So that's what I am infusing in the course. And then I added alt text. What do you want from me? Well, we want a lot more from you. So basically, I saw these myths not as challenges, but as opportunities to educate. So the focuses, foci, I made it foci, I think that's right, of the course is being able to look at where exclusion is happening. That's the most important part. The curb cut effect. The curb cut effect is that if it helps one set of users, it can help more users or even all users. Showing them the principles and guidelines and the laws. A lot of times that's what the mucky mucks will look at is, oh, we can be sued? Wait a minute, what? Also the tools and methods to evaluate. And then of course, making decisions on design based on data, not based on, ooh, I like that color. So another way that I dealt with these 7 weeks was, okay, I have 7 weeks to teach WCAG. No, that's impossible. So what do? I have 7 weeks to teach them about laws. I have 7 weeks to teach them about all of these guidelines. So the way I organize the course is the first half is team assignments. You can get a lot of information in, get a lot of diverse perspectives, and that's a good thing. So this is them learning the tools, learning how to, learning where exclusion happens. And they also learn teamwork, because accessibility is, sometimes it is a one-person job, but it shouldn't be a one-person job. And so far, this was a B session class, so we're in the middle of it. I had a midterm survey that said, give me some information. What are you guys thinking about this class? Does it work too much? Any areas that were muddy for you? But I also got some, in their reflections, I see where phrases like, I need to be more accountable to my team. Communication is key. And I'm finding out different perspectives. So that is music to my ears. And now starting in a week, they're going to be working individually. They're going to take everything that they learned in the team assignments, and they're going to apply it individually to a product of their choice, a cross-media product of their choice. But they still have those team members to lean on. So peer reviews. Hey, let me bounce this idea off of you. What do you think of this? I created this prototype. What do you think? Am I hitting the mark with it? All right. So the first thing was to figure out how to start this whole thing. And I knew I wanted to ground it in UX principles, because UX and accessibility are intertwined. And I tried to think, okay, where is there a UX principle that includes accessibility? And I'm like, well, it's usually just a, here, do this accessibility wise. Oh yeah, and then do some, or do this user experience wise. And oh yeah, don't forget to add this on. I wanted to stay away from the add-on. So I went back to a almost 20-year-old principle, or maybe it's more than 20. No, it's about 20. And it's Peter Morville's UX honeycomb. Each one of these honeycombs, useful, usable, findable, credible, valuable, desirable, and accessible, all have to work together in order to make an optimal user experience. So I thought, hey, accessibility baked in. That's awesome. So the accessibility principles I came up with are Peter Morville's UX honeycomb. But in this case, the other 6 are supporting accessibility. So accessibility still has to be there, but the other 6 have to support that in order for it to happen. All right. I also used familiar, or at least to UX professionals and those who work with WCAG, the POUR principles. I have the 1x, 2x, 3x, 4x, because that is how they are arranged. The specific criteria start with 1x if it's under perceivable, 2x, and so on and so on. I also started with some overarching guidelines. I didn't want to just go, here's WCAG. No. So these are ones that I have found, that my research has found, and also some others. First is color, text alternatives, not just alt text, but text alternatives. Typography. Typography makes a difference. People don't realize that. And typography is a big part of design. So that needed to happen. A logical structure. In order to work with screen readers, you need to have a logical structure. That also helps curb cut effect. It helps everyone. And then the last one isn't really a guideline per se, because right now it's just for government, but I think it has to be here. And that's plain language. And that is something that design students are not going to think of. They design, and that's great. They're great at what they do, but the content also has to be there. So just to give you an idea of what I did, so I took each of these overarching guidelines, have some sub-guidelines underneath. I gave them some of the biggest ones, and one of the assignments as a team was to discover more. What are some other sub-guidelines out there? And then also with color, I brought in WCAG. So it makes it a little bit more palatable. So for instance, color, it's 1.4, which is in the perceivable. And here are the modified WCAG criteria that match it. So far it looks like this approach is working. I'll know more at the end of the semester. All right. Thank you for listening. I hope that this, excuse me. I hope that this inspires any faculty out there, or even staff, people in Ed Plus, people who are instructional designers. I hope this inspires you to encourage bringing accessibility into your coursework, because accessibility belongs in every industry and it has a right to be there. So thank you. Questions, comments, feedback? Thank you. Yes. I've got hearts coming up on the screen. I love that.
Hi, my name is Amy Robinson. I am an instructor and associate program head at the design school.
Great.
I graduated from the program in 2015 and immediately went to work in the NFL as a graphic designer. And in 2016, we had one of our biggest, in my opinion, embarrassing moments. I was with the Arizona Cardinals. There was a lot of embarrassing moments, but this one was some of the most embarrassing that year. It was our Color Rush game where, well, it wasn't our Color Rush game. It was a Thursday night football game, and it's known as the colorblind football game, if anyone is aware of that.
Okay.
So it was the Jets versus the Bills.
Okay.
So Color Rush, red and green.
Okay.
And no one could view the game.
Yes.
And it was frustrating for me. My husband's colorblind. It was frustrating for me as someone who had come through the program and is now back teaching in the program, but that still happens at that level. And how can we get more people at the table at that C-suite level? Because I still tell my students this, I show them this, the clips of it all the time. It's actually really funny to watch if you want to go back and look. Is how does a corporation like that forget? And it's not that they forgot, they just didn't take the time to test. So how do we get more people at that level, at the table? To have those conversations, because once I saw it, I was like, this is going to be bad. And it was.
And it was.
But it's like in some franchises thought ahead, like we were in all black, but if we would have played the Seahawks, we would have had that same issue if we were in all red.
Yeah.
So just how do we get more people involved in that buy-in?
My main answer is data. You need to bring data to the table, and that's why I framed this class as the pre. You don't just walk into the C-suite and say, yeah, so we've had some phone calls about there's color issues on the site. And what? Fix it. No, but there's even more than that. Well, how do you know? If you go in and do the work ahead of time, you have data. And sometimes it is harder to fight with, not fight with, it's harder to deny data than it is to just ignore what you're saying. Oh, yeah, whatever. That's a design thing. Just fix it. No, you don't realize what goes into fixing this. And oh, by the way, we need a seat at the table at the very beginning instead of at the end. So that's another thing. Advocate for inclusivity. That's my answer.
Do you have any titles of books or resources that go into designing for accessibility?
I do for web. One of the other books that's being used is by Regine Gilbert, and it is Inclusive Design for the Web. I also, it's not a book per se, it's a PDF that was that is free to read or use, and that is Give a Damn About Accessibility. It's very blunt, but I really like blunt. Sometimes you have to be blunt. Another one is Demystifying Disabilities. I am blanking on the author right now, but that is how to speak, how to be an inclusive ally. Those are the ones that I can think of. There are also UX books. There's research out there. Very little, though. That's the upsetting part, is that there is very little research in that. Anyone else?
We have a question. What are some effective strategies to gain faculty buy-in, or would it be more effective to start by building support at the C-suite level?
I would build it at the, I would do your due diligence beforehand and then move to the C-suite. It might be easier for you to go from you, let's say you're a designer or a developer, go to your team lead. Hopefully your team lead is already on board with it. They should be. Then you start going up the ladder. But again, have some numbers behind you, have some quantitative, have some qualitative data behind you so that you're not going in and what it looks like is your opinion. It's not your opinion, but that's how it could be seen. So having actual data behind it, saying, oh, by the way, did you know that we are not complying with these WCAG standards? They'll be like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, by the way, did you know that you can be sued for that? Yeah, hit them in the wallet. Okay.
Time for one more question. We're right at 10:25. So.
How much of the focus of what you work on is universal, as in anyone in any country would benefit from this, versus specifically to like an American context?
This course specifically is in an American context because of the American laws. However, the book by Regine Gilbert does go a little bit into the laws in other countries. book was to 2019, so some of that might be outdated, but at least it gives students plants it in their brain. There are laws in other countries too. It's not just us. That's a much bigger discussion to have, and I would love to research and kind of bring together all of that and be able to have an international standard. Although ISO does recognize WCAG as an international standard, but it would be nice to build upon that even more.
Thank you, Dr. Pruitt, for sharing information about your new course with us today. We'll begin the next session, creating accessible PDF documents, course strategies, in just a few minutes. Please join us here in the Ventana Room at Tempe MU or virtually on Zoom. And thank you, everyone, and we'll begin in just a moment.